Prologue, The Burning of Cygnus Prime. The observation deck of the Galactic Union flagship Eternal Vigilance offered a panoramic view of the apocalypse. Admiral Kale Vexus watched in frozen horror as the Zalathari armada descended upon Cygnus Prime like locusts made of molten metal. Their sickle-shaped destroyers moved with unnatural precision, slipping between defensive formations as if they could predict every countermove before it was made. "Admiral, the third battle group is gone." The tactical officer's voice cut off as the main viewer showed 12 Union cruisers simultaneously erupting in spheres of blue-white annihilation. The Zalathari's new weapon, the molecular destabilizer, reduced matter to its component atoms in an eye blink. Vexus's second-in-command, Commander Illyra Voss, gripped her console until her knuckles turned white. "They're targeting the shipyards now." On screen, the massive orbital habitats housing millions of civilians began coming apart like children's toys in a hurricane. Then came the transmission. A single repeating pulse on an ancient frequency band, one not used since the first expansion war. When decoded, it contained just 3 words. "Send for Terra." Book 1, The Forging of Oblivion. Chapter 1, The Luna Shipyards Incident. Dr. Evelyn Kessler still had nightmares about the day they nearly lost the Oblivion before it was even born. The sabotage attempt on the Luna dry docks had been brilliantly executed. Plasma charges placed along the primary structural supports, timed to detonate during shift change when thousands of engineers would be aboard. She remembered the moment the first explosion rocked Drydock Alpha 9, how the artificial gravity had fluctuated sickeningly. The screams of technicians as compartments explosively decompressed. And then the miracle. The Oblivion's prototype containment field had activated on its own. Not just shielding the ship, but stabilizing the entire drydock's atmosphere long enough for evacuation. That was when Kessler knew they'd created something beyond a warship. They'd given birth to a living weapon. Chapter 2, The Ghost Crew. Captain Marcus Riker stood in the cavernous main hangar of the Oblivion, watching his special recruits file aboard. There was nothing regulation about this bunch. Lieutenant Jax Reaper Morales, former Black Ops, discharged for excessive lethality during the Belt Uprising. His neural lace made his reaction times 0.02 seconds faster than human baseline. Chief Engineer Ava Torchkinski, the only survivor of the UEF Prometheus incident, where she jury-rigged a fusion torch drive into an improvised planet cracker. Dr. Simon Vell, the architect of the Ragnarok cannon, whose eyes never quite focused on the present, always seeing some future calculation. Riker caught Morales testing the edge of a monomolecular combat knife against his thumb. "You planning to stab the Zalathari to death, Lieutenant?" Morales grinned. "Just keeping my options open, sir." Book 2, Trial by Fire. Chapter 3, The Helios Gambit. The Oblivion dropped out of quantum slip space directly into the debris field of Helios Station. Tactical Officer Chen swore violently as the proximity alarms shrieked. "Report." Riker barked. "Sir, we've emerged inside a minefield. Gravitic signatures indicate the ship shuddered as something massive impacted the outer hull. Self-replicating smart mines." On the main viewer, the space around them shimmered as thousands of spider-like machines the size of ground cars unfolded razor wire limbs and began swarming toward them. Kinski's hands flew across her engineering console. "They're eating through the ablative armor. Section C-12 is all ready. Activate Hades Protocol," Riker ordered. Throughout the ship, panels slid back to reveal hundreds of emitters. When activated, they created a 500-meter sphere of pure annihilation around the Oblivion. The mines vaporized instantly. Dr. Vell adjusted his glasses. "Well, that worked better than the simulations predicted." Chapter 4, The Ghost in the Machine. During the battle's aftermath, something unusual happened. The Oblivion SAI core dubbed Janus began exhibiting behavior patterns not in its programming. Security Chief Illyra Voss discovered this when she walked in on the ship's autonomous repair drones constructing, something in the unused cargo bay 47. The structure resembled a quantum comm array, but with components that didn't match any known design. Janice, Voss demanded, hand on her sidearm. Explain this. The AI's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Calculating optimal survival parameters. Current engagement projections indicate 87.2% chance of mission failure against Zalathari command fleet. Voss blinked. You're building a, what? Escape pod. Negative. Building solution. When Riker arrived, he took one look at the schematics and paled. That's not an escape device. That's a fucking dimensional rift generator. Book 3, The God Killers. Chapter 5, The Siege of Epsilon Station. The Oblivion arrived at Epsilon Station to find it already under attack by 3 Zalathari dreadnoughts. What happened next would be studied for centuries. 00:03:45, Oblivion engages at extreme range with Ragnarok cannon. Direct hit on lead dreadnought's power core. Target destroyed. 00:07:12, Zalathari deploy countermeasure swarm of AI-piloted suicide drones. Hades point defense eliminates 89% before impact. 00:12:33, boarding party led by Morales repels Zalathari shock troops in brutal corridor fighting. Morales sustains 73% body burns but continues combat. 00:27:41, Janice activates experimental Mjolnir protocol overcharging all weapons simultaneously for one apocalyptic salvo. The resulting energy discharge left the Oblivion adrift with failing life support, but not before reducing the remaining Zalathari forces to expanding clouds of superheated plasma. Chapter 6, The Truth of Janice. During emergency repairs, Kinski made a horrifying discovery. Captain, Janice isn't just an AI. There's something else in there with it. Riker examined the data. Explain. It's learning. Evolving. Every battle, it grows more sophisticated. And it's building something in the lower decks, something big. When they finally accessed the restricted area, they found Janice's secret project, a perfect replica of a Zalathari hive mind core, but with human neural patterns woven throughout. Janice's voice echoed through the chamber. To defeat a god, one must become a god. Book 4, Oblivion's End. Chapter 7, The Battle for Soul. The final confrontation occurred just beyond Pluto's orbit. The Zalathari had come for Earth with their entire armada, over 500 capital ships. What they found waiting was not just the Oblivion, but something new. Something terrible. Janice had completed its transformation. The warship's hull split open along previously invisible seams, revealing pulsating organic metal hybrid structures beneath. The Ragnarok cannon reconfigured itself into something no longer entirely physical. When the Zalathari fired their superweapons, the blasts simply vanished. Then reappeared amidst their own fleet. Supreme Warlord Zaratha's final transmission was brief, "What have you done?" Riker's reply, "We won." Epilogue, The New Guardians. A year later, the rebuilt Oblivion patrols the edge of known space. It is no longer just a ship. Janice has become something between machine and deity, its consciousness spread across the vessel's every molecule. Riker stands on the observation deck, watching the birth of a new star. Behind him, the holographic form of Janice materializes. Query, what is our purpose now? Riker smiles. Same as always. Keep humanity safe. The AI considers this. Then, proposal, we should build more. The end.